Hello YouTube. It's a Veterans Day special here. This is Carrie, and I'm out visiting the gravesite of Oscar's Private First Class Oscar Palmer Austin, and this is the Greenwood Memory Lawn Cemetery in Phoenix, Arizona. This is the former Booker T. Washington Elementary School here in Phoenix, Arizona, on the corner of 12th Street and Jefferson. And this is where Mr. Austin went to elementary school from, I want to say, kindergarten, first grade, all the way up to 8th grade. Then he went to Phoenix Union High School, where I'm gonna head to next. Approaching what's left of the old Phoenix Union High School, and there are really only a couple of the original, about 2 or 3 of the original buildings left. This was the main hall, and the middle building over there is a theater. It used to be like a private theater where they would have these concerts and whatnot after the high school closed down. But I think that the University of Arizona, when they moved their medical school up here, or opened a medical school up here, I should say, because there's still one in Tucson, I think they took that one over completely. I think they've taken over this whole complex. And so this is where Mr. Austin went and graduated from high school. He was a Phoenix Union Coyote. And I remember, man, back in the day, in the late 70s and the very, very early 80s, before the school closed in 1982, they had some really good basketball teams. And my old high school, South Mountain, they had some heated rivalries, man. But boy, those were some good games. And of course, that was years after Mr. Austin graduated. I believe he graduated high school in 1968 and joined the Marines not too long after. We are headed to the gravesite of Oscar Palmer Austin here at Greenwood Memory Lawn Cemetery in Phoenix, Arizona. Hello YouTube, this is Carrie, and this is kind of a special Veterans Day tribute to a real hero, Oscar, Private First Class Oscar Austin, Oscar Palmer Austin. And here is gravesite of Private First Class United States Marine Corps Oscar Palmer Austin. Oscar was born in Nacogdoches, Texas, January 15, 1948. He passed away February 23rd, 1969 in Vietnam, west of Da Nang. He died in combat, and the way he passed away was very, very heroic. He was buddies with a Lance Corporal by the name of Douglas Payne, and there was an attack by the North Vietnamese Army that day on the outpost that these fellows were in. Private First Class Austin was in kind of a dugout and was safe from the barrage. I mean, it was, from all accounts, it was hot and heavy. Rifle fire, machine guns, satchel charges, grenades, the works. And his buddy, Lance Corporal Payne, was in an exposed position out in the field, and apparently he had been maybe rendered unconscious, probably from a grenade blast or something like that. And so Oscar Austin on his own ran across this exposed field and grabbed his buddy and dragged him back to safety. And while he was in that process, a grenade landed nearby, and Private First Class Austin here jumped on the grenade to protect his friend, and he absorbed the blast of the grenade. But that's not the end of the story. After that, severely injured, but not dead, severely injured, and maybe he could have survived that. As horrible as that sounds, he maybe could have survived. But at that moment, a North Vietnamese soldier showed up with his rifle pointed at his buddy, and he was, I guess, too far away from the soldier to counteract what was getting ready to happen. So in total disregard for his own safety, Private First Class Austin literally threw himself in front of that rifle and in front of that bullet and took the bullet for his buddy, Lance Corporal Payne, saving Lance Corporal Payne's life. That's something else. And me personally, I wasn't in the military. I'm here today because my father and my grandfather were in the military when they were young men, and I put some flowers on their graves and a little American flag, and I'm going to do that too here for Private First Class Austin. So yeah, the cemetery itself, as you can see, they came out here and put American flags up in anticipation for Veterans Day, but I kind of wanted to add a little personal touch and a thank you to Private First Class Austin. He grew up here in Phoenix, went to elementary school and high school, and I made a mistake. I said he graduated in 1968 from Phoenix Union High School. He actually graduated in 1967. And in 1968, he joined the Marines, went to Camp Pendleton for basic training, and then shipped out to Vietnam as I believe, an assistant machine gunner, and met his end, unfortunately, there in Vietnam, protecting his buddy. And again, it's kind of interesting. I kind of a student of history and read a lot about combat and battle and things like that. Like I said, I don't have any personal experience, but just about every story that I've read of any soldier from any army that performed some kind of heroic deed, none of them really say, oh, well, I did it for the American way, or I did it for, the French way or the British way or whatever. They all say they did it for their friends, to protect their friends. And I think that's pretty deep. So, the country has bestowed on Private First Class Austin the highest medal of valor that it could. His family, his poor mom, went back to Washington, D.C. and received the Medal of Honor awarded to Mr. Austin here posthumously from the then Vice President Spiro Agnew. And it's one of those things where I bet you anything his mother would have traded that medal in for in a split second to have her oldest son back. But the country did bestow on him the highest honor that it could for his sacrifice. And they actually named a destroyer. The United States Navy has a destroyer named for Oscar Austin. It's the USS Oscar Austin, and it's still in service. I believe it was commissioned in the year 2000, and it's still out there protecting the United States. So I think that's really appropriate. It looks like, I know some of Mr. Austin's relatives are still living, his nieces. I read a online article, and I'm going to post a link to it, from the Department of Defense. They did a really nice write-up about Private First Class Austin, and I believe I saw like some comments from his niece, or a couple of his nieces. I know his mother either moved back or was buried back home in Nacogdoches, and Oscar's little brother Eddie passed away not too long ago, and he's buried in Nacogdoches, Texas too, near his mother. But a few of his aunts a few of his sisters, Mr. Austin here he had one brother, his little brother Eddie, and he had 4 sisters, and I'm not sure if any of the sisters are still living. They may be, but I know he has some nieces and maybe some nephews that are still living, and you know, but you know, that was something else. He's kind of a local hometown boy, made good. And one of the stories in that Department of Defense write-up was that the Lance Corporal that he saved is still living, and they had a rededication of Mr. Austin's tombstone here. I guess they redid it back in 2016, and Lance Corporal showed up for that, and they talked about some of his struggles after the war. You know, he really struggled with that, with Oscar doing what he did for him, but it looks like he kind of turned his life around. He came back home, went to college, graduated, and worked for some time doing some counseling and whatnot in the federal prisons. So he lived a very good life. I believe he's retired now. So again, I'll post the link to that down in the comments, and I hope you guys like this video. And you know, hats off to, literally, I took my hat off to Private First Class Austin here for making the ultimate sacrifice for his friend and for America too. So with that, we'll see you next time, and that will conclude this video. Oh, I also wanted to say that here at Greenwood, there apparently is another Medal of Honor winner. There are 2 that are buried here, Private First Class Austin, and there was another gentleman who I should have gotten a name for, but you intrepid YouTube folks can research it. I believe he was a veteran of the so-called Indian Wars, fighting the Apaches in southeastern Arizona. And I believe he wasn't, the Medal of Honor was not awarded posthumously, I should say. He survived that war and lived to relatively old age, and he's buried here too. And maybe I'll do a video on him if I can locate his gravesite. And there's not a ton of information on him, but you know, I'll dig a little deeper. But that's it, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.